Hey guys, hi and welcome to the video. So this video I'm going to be doing some lead code problems, right? So today's problem is essentially problem number 217 contains duplicate. So what we have done is essentially we are given an array, right? And we are asked essentially to find a duplicate. So one of the naive approach would be, I'm gonna write a for loop that's gonna iterate over the array, and then for each item one, I'm gonna check, is one there? Nope. Is one there? Nope. Is one there? Yes. Found duplicate, right? That's one way to do. And remember, of course, I know you can use an in operator in Python and get it done, but the goal is not to use a built-in operator and write some code, okay? So let's see if this works, okay? So for, we'll say for I in range, and then I'll talk why this is not accepted on lead code, right? So the first method is basically I'm gonna say for I in range, which is gonna iterate over the entire length of array, and then I'm gonna say for j in range, I comma length of I'm gonna say length of nums, and I'm just simply gonna print here nums of I and nums of j, okay, just to show you. Alright, so if I try to run this program now, so I get 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 1. So what I want to do is I want to compare 1 with this 2, then with this 3, then with this 1. So what's happening here is, if you observe, my I want to essentially have it from I plus 1, right? So if I do that, now I think I'll get a set of combinations, right? So if I do that, so as you can see, 1 and 2, so 1 and 2, then 1 and 3, then 1 and 1, okay, found duplicate, right? So now my naive approach or a brute force approach is essentially going to say, hey, you know what, if number of I is equal to number of j, you know what, print true, right? And if nothing works at the end, if nothing works, it's a false, right? So now if I run this, hopefully I should get true, right? But the problem with this approach is, if you try to submit this solution, lead code is not gonna like it, because the complexity here is O of n square. You have one for loop, then you have another for loop, so it's gonna be O of n square, right? So lead code is like, guys, we gotta do something better, right? So instead of this approach, what we can do is essentially we can store an item in a hash set, right? So let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 1, right? So we basically have a hash set, right? So when the loop starts, right, so you'll have your loop here, and then essentially you're going to say, okay, this one, okay, is this one there in the hash table, hash set? No, it is not there. Okay, add 1. Okay, the next element 2. Is this 2 there in the hash set? It is not there. Is 3 there in the hash set? Nope, it is not there. Is 1 there in the hash set? Yes, it is there. Then return true. So by this approach, as you can see, inserting and essentially inserting and getting item from a hash set is O of 1. So overall, this is considered to be a much better approach than essentially a brute force approach, right? So I have a solution here that I have done. So I think this is a much better approach. So if you see here, we are saying, for I in range 0 to length of nums, right? I'm iterating over the entire array, and then for each item, I'm checking in the hash set. If the item is there in the hash set, I know it's a duplicate, right? Based on this, right? I know it's a duplicate, right? So I simply return true, which means the for loop ends right here. Else, I add the item in the hash set. At the end of that, I return false. So this would be a much better approach, essentially, rather than doing a brute force approach. Because when I approached the problem, my first thought process was, you know what, I'm going to write 2 for loops for I in this, for j in this, and you know what, it's going to work. So if you try this solution on lead code, which I am about to show you, so if I can zoom this out, and if I can submit this, so it's going to pass for certain test cases, but it's going to fail in terms of, oops, I have an error. Oh, I just have to remove the 1 because, all right, so let's try that. So now lead code is going to complain because the time it takes is O of n square, right? It's going to take much long time, and the test cases that the lead code have is going to fail. It's going to give you an error, right? So hopefully, and remember it, so as you can see, right, time exceeded, right? So for a massive input, it's not the best way, right? Which is why when we opt for this solution, that is over here, this would be accepted. So if I try this solution here on Leet code and try to submit that, Leet code is going to like that. As you can see, accepted, problem solved, right? So we're going to move to the next problem. So I want to say every day try to, solve problems, at least one or two. My webcam. All right, my suggestion is, try to solve problems on Leet code at least one or two in a day, if not at least 3 problems in a week. Come on, because that will help you to increase your data structures, algorithms, and stuff like that. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll try to solve more and more Leet codes, because before sleeping I try my best when I at least to solve 1 or 2 problems in a day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.